Greetings everyone, Calypso here. Bit of a correction update on this episode. Interviewing Chris Sharps and getting him on the show, I was 100% sure that he was actually in Hunt Showdown as the Skinflint character. For those of you in the Hunt community, I apologize. Chris Sharps is not the Skinflint and has nothing to do with Hunt Showdown whatsoever. Apparently, I did ask the voice director. I'm trying to get a list of who the actors are. If you would like to see me personally interview them, just reach out, comment on this video if you'd like to see Hunt Showdown interviews. But for now, I'm scrubbing Chris Sharps as part of Hunt Showdown, any mention of that in this episode as a little bit of an update. So yes, apologies again. Enjoy this episode.
Ah, yes. Welcome to Deadhaus Whispers.
Greetings, everyone. I am Calypso. Welcome to Deadhaus Whispers, where we talk everything Deadhaus Sonata, be it games, book, movies, or podcast, and occasionally veer sometimes from that topic. And today, as usual, I'm always joined by my other host, Faceless Mike.
Greetings, hello, and welcome. And sometimes, really?
Sometimes. All the
and
time.
Today's a special day today.
Yes, it is. We do have a special guest. Some of you from Deadhaus Sonata fan groups might know him as our local vampire, Victor and or Lord Zoran. And some of you might know him from a really obscure indie game called Return of the Obra Dinn, and a bunch of other credits added to that list. Chris Sharps, ladies and gentlemen, guys and ghouls.
Hello.
Greetings, Chris. Hey. I've been waiting so long to get Chris on.
Thank
Yeah,
you. You make me feel
he's on our
popular.
bucket list. We can just, this will be our last episode, guys. We kind of have our golden ticket here.
Yeah.
Done now.
No more
We're
Deadhaus,
finished.
no more Deadhaus Whispers. We're done.
End on a low note, boys. That's the way to say. Oh dear. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
It is an
thanks for
absolute delight.
coming.
Chris, do you want to tell us, just on a brief little intro note, what have you done that Calypso hasn't mentioned, and how did you get into voice acting?
Oh god, to put my DB. I've done a lot of obscure stuff. I have stuff coming out I cannot talk about as this is live, but
Dang
There
it.
goes
NDAs.
that.
well, no.
Take that question off my asking of things you could talk about. Or
Well,
not.
no. End of this week, I can talk about something. That's all I'll say. That's all we'll do. But yes, tag NDAs. I'm reading the chat here. So let me. I'm terrible putting an IMDb here. This is how unprepared I am for this. Hang on a second.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
just-
I wasn't prepared either, and I was like, let me pull up his
No.
IMDb as a last minute thing.
Here's a last minute thing. Yeah, I've done a bunch of a lot of mostly indie stuff, and that's starting to change really. Obra Dinn was the first official one that got any sort of traction as far as people loving it, and that was done by Lucas Pope, I think. And it's the one guy that made
Legend,
the whole game.
legendary
He's
indie
insane,
developer.
insanely cool. So you're out there, Lucas. Very cool. And then I did some random stuff for mobile games and stuff. I did a game called Bless Online, which was a not a great MMO. I don't think it tried to.
I know, but dang, you were in Bless?
Yeah, I was in Bless Online. I was one of the big cat people and little small people, varying size people. Yeah.
Oh wow,
That's class.
Yeah. And then I did.
it looks pretty good. I'm looking at it right now.
It's
Dang
dead, though.
Warcraft.
Yeah.
Dang
it's-
Warcraft.
Oh, no, it's dead.
Ruining
It's dead.
everything. Aw.
Then I think what else? Grim Dawn is one that a lot of people have played. I played that too. It's like a Diablo-esque
Yes.
sort of game, and that's actually really fun. I played that. So plays a couple of
What's-
baddies in that too.
The funny part to that, Chris, is I've had members of my Discord hammering on about me all day to play Grim Dawn. So
There we go.
There we go. Scara, wherever you are, there you go. There's your shout out there.
Yeah, I play. It's an evil quest giver called the Vicar of Salile. So
The
that's
vicar,
yeah. He doesn't
Very
look like a
cool.
vicar.
Lord,
No,
vicar, count, everything.
no. Any regal thing could be associated with me automatically. Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
But to answer about your question, I'll slow my speech down here. I'll get excited. Voice acting. I kind of just sort of one day I've always been kind of doing voices, the usual cliche thing, but actually sort of like I'm going to see if I actually can do this, and sort of stumbled upon some online stuff, and then people started to pay me. I'm like, oh, hang on, this is good. then it kind of sort of escalates from there, really. And now I'm here. So it's really not. It's
And
not really.
now I'm
That's
here.
pretty
It's
much
not
it. I
really a
did some
huge
stuff and
story, yeah.
I got a
No.
career out of it.
How did you find Alaric, aka where did you find George, or where did George
Yeah,
find you?
where did you find George, or where did George find
I
you?
actually don't remember where I found. I think George found me. I think through Matt. I want to say it was through Matt Curtis. We've done lots together. He's one of my buddies. He's now lives
That's
in the UK.
wild. I
Oh,
love
Matt's a
Matt.
great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, Matt's great.
And I think he introduced of, hey, do you want to do this? And it kind of just went into this whole thing with the trailer, the Deadhaus trailer with the yes, that whole thing, and that kind of spiraled from there into some of the audio stuff. But yeah, I want to say that's how me and George got in contact. I actually got to meet George this year at MagFest, which was really nice. So me, Matt, and George, Medina was down there, and we had a good time. It was really fun.
Yeah, George and Matt have both been telling us that, and I'm like, I would totally just love to sit at a table with the three of you, just messing with your voices, like doing the different characters, taking the mick out of one another. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, we have to get at the end of the series, we have to get a parody episode, or just like a coffee table episode, and it's all the characters just sitting around drinking like blood or eating flesh and just talking. Just like rambling
just having like
on.
a Seinfeld episode, but with vampires.
Yeah,
Basically.
exactly.
Matt
Yeah,
jumps into that ghoul a little too easy, though.
He does. He does. He does.
he does. So there's that of how you got into voice acting. Kind of just fell into it. Another question that I always ask whenever we have a voice actor on here is, and I know this is a yes from you, but
Yes,
have you
whatever
read?
it is, yes.
Yes. Have you read audiobooks, and did you enjoy that experience? Would you keep reading audiobooks? I've only been able to find one or two that you've done on Audible.
But she had learnt needlework, and no one could equal her in the art of making tapestries and embroidered portraits. By a truly fairy tale turn of fortune, a member of the High Council had happened to see one of her...
Because there's literally two that I've done. That's why you
Oh. All right, so I guess that answers that question of no more audiobooks for me.
Well, it's not so much that it's sort of a bit of an odd genre to get into. I push hard for like sort of games and stuff. That's what I really like to do. But I've been doing some commercial stuff. I did some stuff for Peloton. I did some stuff for Moët Chandon. So like, it's some cool stuff that sounds very fancy. But really, it's sort of like with audiobooks, it's hard. You have to like go full throttle with it. Like most narrators are just audiobooks because you don't have time for anything else. But I could be wrong about that. But I'm 90% sure that's the case.
No. We need you in more video games.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, more video
You
games.
should be
I mean,
voicing
audiobooks are
at
cool.
least one main character in most video games.
There's wink, wink. Can't say wink.
NDA. My favorite thing I've done so far was redacted. Like,
That's it. Varrics are sitting here in the chat just waiting for the yes. That's what I can see.
Yeah.
There.
don't Varric, if you want to clip that, feel free, man. I am gonna have you do our send off, Chris, today. So don't worry, we're gonna get plenty of yeses from you.
Okay.
And I'll splice it into the intro and everything else. So don't
Actually,
endless remix of yes. Okay.
yeah.
and trust me, that annoys people. That has been put on a soundboard.
I
in
hope
the
so.
Deadhaus Discord and everything.
My voice has been memed heavily. Yeah.
You see, he likes it. So anyone who tries to
It'll
argue with
only
me
get
in
better.
future,
It'll
he's
only
all
get
good with
better.
it. Speaking
Absolutely,
of that,
yeah.
though, with the voices, Chris, before we came on, you were saying like it's interesting how World of Warcraft and all has taken the British voice. We were making a joke because Chris got me beforehand. He's like, "So, Mike, you're from Scotland." I'm like, I gotcha. Like, dang it.
Yeah. The so I played Elden Ring last year, like a lot of people did, and I
Love that game.
and I was like, "Is the werewolf Welsh? What is going on?" I was so thrilled. I was like, "Are they playing people actual accents? Oh my god, I love Elden Ring more now." But World of
Amazing.
Warcraft, it's all very, very mid-Atlantic is the term of it, which is Americans doing English as best they can, which sounds good. It does sound amazing. There's no way around. It does sound really like Matthew Mercer sort of voice. But it's the old, we will take this to Alethor. That kind of sort of like very sort of no one speaks that way sort of speech. But in
Yeah.
Warcraft, it sounds amazing. So, but there's no people going, "All right, mate, let's go." None of that. Nothing exists.
You're right, mate. You're right. That's what you want to walk into a city and like
Yeah.
A bunch of people from Snatch walking in saying, "Where's that quest? Let me find that quest."
Right, mate, you
there's
got
no
a minute.
Jason Statham's walking around in any of the games. It would make no sense.
The terrible, the terrible, typical like English, bow wow wow wah, like that kind of stuff.
But
It's a bottle of water.
But you, like I said, we were talking about Birmingham before. You wouldn't want the protagonist to go, "Hello, I've got a sword. I'm going to kill the dragon." It doesn't. Doesn't really sell. Maybe in Birmingham it'll sell perfectly. I'm sorry to all the Brummies out there, but that's just the accent's not sellable. Sorry.
I mean,
Chris,
if Sean Bean can do it, you can do it.
No,
he's from Yorkshire.
If they said a load of quests in a small town in a video game, but everyone had a Liverpool accent, it would be hilarious.
I'd play it.
I'd play it.
I'm not going to try and butcher the Liverpudlian accent right now. And that's not my strong suit. So, to any future hate, I'll keep that to a minimum. Yeah.
Don't worry, you're in the States. You're safe. You're fine.
Oh no, with the internet, no one's safe anymore.
But yeah, I always find it strange with that, like that mid-Atlantic accent, as you talk about. It's like no one ever talks like that, but it's become the standard in the industry, especially as like all nobility in video games.
Fantasy, yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. I actually was in a session recently, and he's like, "Yeah, can you do that in America? That English accent's pretty good." I said, "That's how I talk." It was, "Oh, holy shit! Okay, cool." So like, it was this whole thing, and it was just bizarre. And they're like, I was like, "But you said British, so you were expecting someone to fake it, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's acting. I get it." But also, it's like, you want sort of authentic, or do you want the fake one? But they wanted authentic.
It's usually
like,
the fake one. Oh, they did.
Yeah,
like,
this
usually
time
the
they
fake
wanted
one.
it, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Normally they'd want it hammed up.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
It became the standard because it was made the standard. I wonder how that came about, though.
I was going to say transatlantic, but that's like 1930s, 40s.
No. That's transatlantic. That's exactly what it became.
I blame Hollywood in the 1930s and 40s making film noir with like Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart, and they all had this. It was the way they were taught when they did theater and everything, and when they went to acting school, because they were taught by all these over the sea posh British people, like from schools. So like, "Oh well, hey, what you doing over there? I'm gonna go to the big who's guy
coming in at 5 and fall."
Yeah, exactly. So like that accent
around the world in 80 days. Yeah,
so that accent sort of needed to be clear and concise enough for the technology back then, and that was the thing that they sort of landed upon.
Yeah,
essentially. And then it just through years and years of, it slowly morphs into super posh, Yuri Lowenthal doing a British accent.
Oh, I love Yuri. That's fine. He's allowed to.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
They're all allowed to.
Yeah, they're all allowed.
Get like Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, that kind of...
Yeah, but I love that movie, man. I love that movie. I will die on this hill.
He can't do a normal accent. Like, I think he got roasted going back on like Good Morning, and people were saying, "Is he Welsh now? What's going on?" His accent was all over the place because he was so Americanized now. So
yeah, everyone knows him as like Jax from Sons of Anarchy, and I just see Biker Grove because of when I grew up.
That's right, Biker Grove. Yeah, that's right. I see. For me, Pacific Rim, because I love that film, and I will die on that hill. I don't care what anyone says.
Great, yeah. The first one's
Kaiju forever. Anything.
The new Godzilla's out too, isn't it? The new was it -1?
Yeah,
very good things. So
is -1 out, or did it? Is it out here in America?
It's out there. It's not out here yet.
Oh, okay.
It's the 15th here, but everyone's reviewing it online. So
yeah.
Back to the traditional thing of Americans getting stuff first.
It's quicker,
which is weird.
When I was a kid, though, it was just, dating myself with age with the VHSs, you wait a year for it to come out. Now it's like a week.
Yeah.
So it's
we can't say anything. The fact that video games launch at the same time, we can't complain at all.
So good. Love it. I love it.
There was literally a time when like video games, Chris, like you said, with the VHS, anything older style, it would take at least a year, possibly longer.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite articles is from Nintendo Magazine way back when, and it was on it was either Mario 64 or Donkey Kong 64, and they're like, "We're sorry, we're updating the projected release date of X Nintendo 64 game that has to do with Mario or something to this date as the updated date." Little did they know that that would change, but it's forever permanently printed in a magazine now of the
Right,
wrong dates, and
exactly.
that's why I like games. It was sort of just a when it's really coming out, you know.
You had like a chronicle of disappointment. It's supposed to come out here, and now it doesn't. Yeah, I used to read Nintendo Power as well. I'm really dating yourself here, boys.
Yeah.
Don't worry, shh, they won't
no.
know. They won't know. We won't say it.
Oh
Chris.
no, they will know. They'll figure it out. People will figure it really quick. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
On
Yeah.
to that though, Chris. You've voiced, like, as you said, a few games now. What was your favorite thing that you voiced so far that you can talk about
Oh,
publicly?
it's the one I can't talk
Or
about.
is it under NDA?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's under
Okay, so
NDA.
we'll
All
leave
right.
that one for when we get Chris back again.
Yeah. So with we'll do the counter to that. What was your least favorite character to voice? I guess.
I will say this, and this is because I never want to ever sort of like slap on devs ever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't ever have a least favorite one. I think you have experiences that are more stressful. Things for those that don't know, how a utility actor is someone that's given like 30 NPCs to voice. And after the 10th one, I'm like, I don't know. He sounds like this. I just don't know anymore. And then I listen back and they all sound the same, and I want to just slap my head into a concrete pillar because it was like, it's just there's no bad ones. There's games that have maybe a lower budget, less like, you know, single dev, but even that with like, you know, Obradin, it's like, you know, he did an amazing job with one person, insane job even, you know, so that's not always fair. But I don't like to do too many NPCs at once. I just did a game called Dark Envoy, and Matt was in that too, and he was the protagonist, and I was just the NPCs, and that was the
fans
example.
love that, man. When that's a huge. Oh yeah, there's you get. Well, I think not to bring up Elder Scrolls because that's one of our topics we always bring up. Is in Elder Scrolls they have like the same 5 people voicing every single NPC throughout the entirety of the series.
I am all over that game. It's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's somewhat spread out, but there are a couple where I'm like, oh, I fooled myself, didn't recognize that one. But the others I'm like, oh no, that's definitely me, and then me, and then me in the same room.
As someone else from this side of the water, Chris, maybe you'll get this as well. How do you feel with The Witcher? With the accents, like particularly on the accent side, not the games. I love the game.
That's right.
The accents sometimes they're like, it's like, oh, I just stepped into Scotland. This is Edinburgh. Why does he sound like he's from Glasgow? Why does
so like with The Witcher and stuff, The Witcher 3 especially, I felt they definitely hired everyone in the UK. They're like, we don't care where you're from, just come on in. It's a magical world. Because Geralt's going to be doing this the entire time, you know, so it doesn't really matter as long as Geralt sounds cool. But with the NPCs, some it was all very Cornish. It was Cornish, then Welsh, then Scottish. It was like, oh, hello there, Witcher. I'm like, okay, but like it works. I mean, because medieval, like you know, peasants and Cornish accent. I don't know why.
We went, you go to some little hovel town and it's like, oh, I didn't know we went to the West Country. Okay.
Right. But it's always that. It's like, yes, my lord. It's always that sort of like, you know, peasants are Cornish. I don't think the Cornish take too kindly to that, but that's the way the films have projected it. So.
Hey, look,
it's
just
the magical world of the UK.
Oh, no, I lived there. I remember. Yes.
Look, it's the same as with the Irish. Anytime there's an Irish accent, he's either drunk or he's about to start a fight. You know, it's literally...
So speaking of that, I've had opportunities and I've got Scottish friends that are actors and Irish friends. I have tried to do the accent without being a stereotype, and the response from directors are like, yeah, it was nice. I'm like, no, it was crap. I don't think
can you give us an example now? Can you give us an example?
Oh no, just think about a terrible, like, you know, William Wallace, that kind of horrible sort of like
I become Shrek.
Yeah. Basically just become Shrek. Yeah. Embrace Shrek. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But no,
Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
So Shrek is love. Yeah. I went back to the question about the least favorites. So the first game I did, and you can, is a game called Diagnosis Survival, and I was like, The guy was nice. We had a good time. It was just me and someone else. The videos, though, the streamers memed it so hard. I was like, oh no. And then my friend texted me one day. He goes, were you in this game? I said, why? Why would you ask such a specific question? And they were like, no, people fucking love it. I was like, oh, okay. And it's a game made with Unity stuff, and I hope everyone gets to spend $1 and buy it because it's fun and silly, but it was made with like Unity.
Which one was that again, Chris?
Diagnosis Survival.
Saying that Survival. There you go. Everyone needs to go pick that up now.
Everyone go pick it up. I'm searching up for it right now as we speak.
Yes, it is something.
Dutch media has a lot of dubbing, and the problem with that is that you've got like 3 Dutch VAs.
Yeah,
it's $5. Everyone on Steam, pick it up.
Help the creator out, and I'm the only voice in the entire game.
Oh, there's Colden's going to kill me on that one, Vark. So I don't know if you saw this, Chris. When they were doing the videos for Deadhaus, there's one where they're explaining how like the voting system will work. So like the macro and the micro versions of how like people will be able to interact and you'll be able to vote for this, that, and the other. And one of the rewards, they had some name and Colden kept flubbing the name. And so he just called it the Crimson Sword of Fire.
Okay.
And that has been memed to the point where like people are going to be angry if that's not in the game. It's like, yes, the Crimson Sword of Fire.
Yes, it needs to happen.
We will never let Colden live
doing weapon commentary on the Crimson Sword of Fire.
Oh, we need that.
Because that's what I like. I think the best part about you being in Deadhaus now is that those of us who got to play or watch the combat demo, is all your weapon commentary is fantastic. Like I love all the lines.
I actually remember that we had a 10-minute debate about cuirass. Whether it was cuirass. I said it's not cuirass. Don't say cuirass. That it is cuirass. It's cuirass.
You've just made that a thing now, Chris.
Yeah, well, it was the thing. I was like, I don't think that's the way we should say it. I don't think that's the. But I think we may have recorded it both ways. So.
Has to be done by Colden.
The information has to be done by Colden. Yeah,
poor Colden. But you wouldn't believe though the amount of people that have been streaming that and all, Chris, that would just stop and listen to that because the voice lines have delivered so incredibly. I still love the one with where he picks up like the light sword thing. It's like it burns. Why am I still holding
it? Yeah. I saw the that was the combat demo thingy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I watched some of that. It's very cool. It's very cool indeed. But it's been a while though, so like you're saying this and go, oh yeah, I did say that. Now like looking back, what did I say? Oh no.
Your voice has become the iconic one for Deadhaus. You and George, they're the ones that stand out the most, especially with the cinematic that will be redone at some point with the whole, they said the vampire.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool. The Memento Mori, right?
Yep.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It was I remember the whole dance macabre. That's the whole thing. I think that was it. It's been a while. Yeah.
Of course, everything's going to get redone, Varric. Don't be teasing me like this is a bean. They keep getting me like it's like, oh, Mike's spilling beans. Like, no, I'm not. I'm very careful. George and Dennis can spill beans. I have to be careful.
Yes, I merely count the beans. I do not share them. Yes.
Don't start.
Janie, yes, the Emperor died in Star Wars. He did. Well, actually, then he didn't because of the new episodes.
Yes, somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned. Yeah.
Too much.
I don't want to. Oh God.
Don't worry, we'll keep away from that. On to the better topics. You said you love Elden Ring. What have you been playing lately, Chris?
Oh God, I'm actually playing Jedi Survivor right now. I had it. I built my wife a PC, and I came with a free copy of it with the processor.
One of the fancy new cards. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and playing through that, it's amazing. It's really good. Yeah, EA makes some good stuff. Play a lot of Warhammer. To play Bolt Gun. If you play that, it's really fun.
Bolt Gun is on my
wish list.
Bolt Gun is
and
on
that's
my
the
list.
next one. I've been playing a lot of Dark Tide.
Dark Tide's good. I play that too. I've been playing that as well. I get dragged in to play that whenever, I turn on Steam, people go, "Oh, Thingy invited you to play Darktide." I'm like, okay, it's fine. The game is great. It just, I don't know, it lacks some, I don't know, there's a momentum on some of them. You have to have a really good group for it to be really fun. Otherwise, by yourself, it's a bit of a weird experience.
Hugging it is semi-impossible. You need a group of friends playing it and going through. Like, the updates lately have been amazing. They keep adding more stuff. They'll get to it being great. I just love the music and the atmosphere of
Oh,
it.
I love the whole thing with the ship and everything else. And yeah, I'm a big Warhammer nerd, so
Hey,
yeah.
I'd
I guess
love,
we'll
I'd
get to
love to get.
Warhammer.
We need to get Chris on lines like that. That's what I want for Deadhaus. So in Darktide, as you're going along doing things, the characters banter with one another.
Yeah.
And they'll give out and they'll make off comments either about the environment or if someone picks up too much ammo and all like that. It's like, I need to hear Chris doing Victor's voice for that in Deadhaus. That needs to be a standard. That'd be awesome.
If there's ammo in Deadhaus, that'd be bits. Well, it might be. There might be magical ammo. I'm not sure.
Well, there's going to be silver tipped crossbows somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure at some point. Yeah, absolutely. Something's gonna get stabbed for sure.
But Jesse, you've been playing Jedi Survivor and you loved Elden Ring.
So my friend will make fun of this. So I tried Dark Souls and I hated it. I hated it with all my soul.
Everyone.
I'm not a Dark Souls fan either. Like, they don't interest me. I can see the appeal, but they don't interest me in the overall gameplay.
So Elden Ring was like a bad girlfriend that came back and like an ex-girlfriend said, "I've changed, baby." And I'm like, "No, you haven't. You're still terrible." And then I'm like, "Oh wait, you have changed." And I got myself kicked across the screen like everyone else did, and I was so just angry. I'm like, "Why did I buy this?" And then this weird like ride your bike moment happened, and I'm like, "I get it. Oh god, I get it. I understand. I see the Matrix now." And the game is still incredibly hard, but I loved it. The way just the map was massive, the sort of dark fantasy stuff. I loved that. So that was definitely they make a new one, please hire me. That's all.
I was gonna ask, would you ever join FromSoft game if they make
one,
they hire you?
Join anyone that wants to hire me. I'm not really that fussy. Yeah, it's getting the auditions, but that's all locked behind agents and casting directors. So you don't.
George, you've got work to do.
Yeah, George.
George, you need to get him in a From Software game.
Yeah, please chop.
I had that moment, Chris. I was very similar. So when I first played Dark Souls when it came out, I was the same. I just didn't get it. I'm like, I don't understand this. This is not enjoyable. Skip Dark Souls 2 at the time.
Yeah.
Bloodborne came out.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, it's a From Software game. Didn't like Dark Souls, but this is my aesthetic, the grim, dark, the Victorian. I like everything painted on this. Is like, this is my game. And I was determined to like this. So I got it.
I think that's fair. Determined is the right word. I think that's once the aesthetic snaps in, I think you become determined. Like, no, I'm gonna beat this. You don't need to do it.
I had that moment that you talked about. I see the Matrix. It clicked. It just clicked for me. And for me, it was actually fighting the cleric beast.
Yes.
I was like fighting a hammer in my head, literally throwing my head against that wall a load of times because your first time doing it. And if you don't know Souls games, it's 10 times harder. Yeah. And then when I beat it, I was like, yes, I knew it. Oh, wait, hello. Ding. That's when it ticked. That's what it got for me. Couldn't do Sekiro, though. I'm just terrible at that game. Great game. I'm just terrible at it. But Elden Ring, when that came out, and the company I was working at, not going to say which on air, but it was a games company. It impacted the entire company. Like 3/4 of the company booked time off specifically for that coming out. And most of us were like, we're not even lying. I was like, oh, we're booking this weekend and Monday and Tuesday. Oh, why? Elden Ring's coming out. Like, it actually impacted things. And I'm sure there's a few games that it actually impacted, as you said, productivity across. Loads of people took it. And 2 of the guys that I worked with on my team, like, no-lifed it. Like, they literally went through and they'd no-lifed it by the weekend. Like, they'd it done. I'm like, what in the how?
Yeah, not me. I knew the game was going to be challenging when you walk out, that thing gets you. And like, okay, it's fine. And then the big golden knight's like, haha, and just one-shots you. And then you come back later and I said, look, come here. And you slap him and kill him in 2 hits. It's very, very rewarding at the end of it.
Especially when you go down the route of like Varric here. I'm a big fan of Berserk. So everything has to be pure strength build at the start. You know?
But Berserk with the big boinky sword is the one you get in the game that is literally Guts' sword. I'm like,
Yes.
this is not even a subtle like nod.
Oh yeah, no, they're not subtle about it at all for Elden Ring.
Well, it was the moon blades in every game too.
You can flick through it, like even the Hill of Swords, loads of stuff, all very directly. Like they're very blunt about it. It's not even like a sly or this is this is very much, even down to the merchants, the whole lot.
Yeah.
As Varric, my first From Software game was Kingsfield on the PS1, followed by Armored Core 1, 2, and 3. Didn't pick up another till Dark Souls 1.
Armored Core is great. See, I loved Armored Core back in the day.
I like it, but I'm bad at it.
Yeah, and
there's a game I just played as well.
They made Tenchu too, and I freaking love Tenchu.
But
have we gotten another one? No. I want another. I mean, I guess you could say Sekiro is a Tenchu-like, but it's not exactly.
What I loved about the Tenchu is when you've done the assassinations, if you snuck into one of the places you've done the assassinations, it had that really cheap, shitty kung fu type thing at the blood spurt.
Yep, that's
like
the best.
Kurosawa kind of like
yeah.
Actually, yes, you reminded me of games I played. I beat the crap out of Fires of Rubicon, the new Armored Core. I really enjoyed it. From Software again. I was like, yeah, that game was frustrating beyond belief. But again, I was like, I've done Elden Ring, I can do this. And I kicked in the face. I'm like, this is stupid. I was so angry just having to. But it's a good game though, really fun game.
I love the Armored Core games. I played like 1 and 2, and I haven't played any of them since. But I played like demos of the different ones when they came out. You know, back when they used to have demo discs.
Again, we're facing ourselves throughout this entire.
I miss demo discs, man. I miss demo discs.
The students of Eric have still yet to beat Armored Core.
PS1.
They were always amazing games, and I'm terrible at them. I love mech games, but I'm always bad at it. Either resource management or just getting wrecked.
Yeah. I started on mech games as kind of a love affair, I think, because I like Mech Warrior way back when. Which
man, Mech Warrior is great too.
And now it's evolved. You know, the newer version is Armored Core, and the sexier version, and I love it as well. Really fun. You know, bit of a button mashy one, but it's fun though. I enjoy it.
That's right. There needs to be a few more of those ones because, as I was talking to Calypso as well before we were starting, I've been looking through my backlog, and I'm determined that this coming year I'm going to clear my backlog. And I made a nice little list. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to approach this pragmatically. Every one of them is over 60-hour games. I'm like, I'm starting to see why I haven't finished these. Whereas anything that's an arcade, you know, pick up, play for a little while, put down, easy.
Same with my Steam library. I was like, I have put in 100 hours into The Witcher. And I loaded up the other day, and I was like, I don't know what I was doing. So I just turned it back off again. I don't remember what I was doing.
He said it. I'm allowed to talk about it. He said it again.
He did. He said it. He said it. We were talking about The Witcher earlier, too. And I'm determined to at least finish The Witcher 3 end of this year. By like December.
I will finish it. I agree.
I'm going to finish it. Because I started my Witcher 3 journey like 2 years ago, I guess, on and off. I'm still on my first playthrough. I'm at the last boss.
Don't worry,
I'm 120 hours in, and it's taking
I'm lying to you, boys. I got my Steam thing right here. Hang on. Baldur's Gate. How did I avoid that one? Plus 200 hours of 440 hours. Yeah.
Oh, Scara missed it a while ago. There's a particular game that Chris actually voices that you've been annoying me about lately.
Which one?
I just said Grim Dawn.
Yes, Grim Dawn. That's the one. Yep.
And you voice who?
The Vicar of Solar. Actually, I can send you the link. Hang on, I may have it. I actually may have it. Hang on, if you want to see it. Hang on.
Yeah.
And Block Plus is
Calypso will edit this in when he gets to re-edit.
Don't worry, everybody. I'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post. Let me find this really quick because it's if I can here, but yeah, while I'm hunting for this, so yeah, the Baldur's Gate. Big one. Played a lot of that. Really enjoyed that too. Halo Infinite. I'm a Halo kid. It's never going away.
Yes.
I love Halo. I don't care what anyone says. They can talk all the crap they want, but I like it. So
when you were there from the beginning, Chris, you see again, aging ourselves again, it hits different.
They don't understand.
No,
they don't understand. Let me try and find it. Hang on a second.
I think
I found it.
Great.
You're going to clear your backlog and buy 10 more games this year, finish 3 of them and put the rest in your backlog. Or probably buy a load of other games and then go back to playing the same crap that I play all the time.
Yeah, playing
not
the same
do any
stuff over and over and over again, not play anything new. I need to be in the moods to play certain games. Like
No, that's a real thing. That's a real
I
thing. Hang on, let me
will.
put you on the
I
private
have The
chat here.
Witcher 3 installed. I have The Witcher
There
3
you
is a
go.
perma install for me.
There we go.
Thank you. We'll get back to this in a minute. All right, guys.
Yep.
People, are you ready to hear the Vicar of Solai? We're doing this live, but don't worry, I'll fix it in post.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
You show promise. Perhaps you would be of value to Solisle. It remains to be seen if the emissary was right about you. Solisle does not need your help. But that does not mean we cannot benefit one another. Only those willing to make any sacrifice, to go to any ends necessary, are of use to Solisle. The world is ripe with power for the taking, if you have the will to claim it.
Yeah, I remember this.
Piecemeal and greed hope to manipulate events to glean a favorable future. Solisle knows that the mighty carve their own future.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very rad. Very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Thank you. I had to dig that out. I keep clips on the YouTube page. It's from a website, so I can like backlink to it. But yeah, let me see. But that was a fun one.
There we go, Scara. That's most RPG keep quest logs for remembering where you were to jog your memory. No, that doesn't work at all. When you're playing The Witcher, you've forgotten the previous 40 hours that you spent running around the southern part of the Northern Kingdom.
I'll have bits and pieces in my memory of what happened last time, but otherwise I have no idea what's going on. Thankfully, The Witcher 3 has a recap of what happened in the main story. That's
RPG quest logs. Yeah, the problem is the quest. I see what you say. The quest logs. Yes, I agree. The problem is I'll have, because I am a completionist, I'll have all the quests, and I'll be like, what? Where do I begin? And it becomes this massive shopping list. And I'm like, I'm gonna panic and turn off the game. Good.
You know the meme, it shows Gandalf, you know, when you log back into a game after 6 months, I have no memory of this.
I don't know this place. Yeah, exactly.
This is why I had to restart my mage on Elden Ring. Of course, there are no logs for Soulsborne. No,
so Elden Ring's a weird one because you can kind of just wander around. And once you play it through, you know where you're going. But it's kind of the whole wandering around. Oh, it's a big fella. Oh, I'm dead. And you're gonna wander. And then once they're sort of dead, you go, oh, it's clear now. You got the NPC guys wandering around, you fight, but the big boys are gone. You're like, okay, cool, I've done this bit. And you kind of retrace your steps a bit. It's weird, but it does work. It's weird how you remember stuff.
Amazing design to get that to work. Like, one of my favorite parts that I love to Elden Ring with their boss fights. And there's very few games I see this in. When I die to a boss in Elden Ring, I'm not screaming at the screen or like, oh, that's BS, they're bullshit mechanics or whatever. I'm like, no, I didn't dodge there. I should have dodged there. It's like, that's my mistake. I should have done that. There's other games, not going to name Diablo 4, but there's other games where I've been fighting bosses and just you're one shot at another, like, what happened? What? I don't even understand how I died. But in Elden Ring, it's like, oh, I just got clapped by a massive axe. Okay. Better not dodge that next time, you know?
It was the mixture of when you're in the lake on the horse and the big dragon just comes in and nukes everything. I actually screamed in terror. I don't do well with jump scares. And my wife really wants me to stream like Alien Isolation games like that. I'm just going to be terrified the entire time.
Do, Chris. Please.
I'd watch that.
It's just it'll be me crying into a pillow for the most of the game, really. That's basically it.
Speaking of, we will also link that. Calypso will link it afterwards on the chat. Chris, give a shout out for your Twitch.
Oh, yeah. It's twitch.tv. Chris Sharps VO is my Twitch.
Right.
So y'all need to go follow Chris and keep requesting he do horror and jump scary games.
Yep.
The entire Dark Pictures anthology.
Yeah.
Actually, what do you think of those games, Chris? Have you tried any of those kind of more narrative-based ones? You know, that's more of a walking, like the Dark Pictures one, like Man of Medan. Have you played any of those? They're kind of like Telltale games.
Yeah.
Oh, Telltale. I played all the Telltale stuff. I played the Batman one, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Wolf Among Us is like one of the best things I've ever played.
Legend.
I love that game.
It's class.
I absolutely love it.
Number 2 is supposed to be coming out at some point finally.
Oh god, eventually 10 years later. But like Telltale went out of business, or they folded for a bit and then came back.
They folded and then they came back.
Yeah, that was the thing. But now I was a big fan of point and click games. That was how I grew up. I loved
Discworld 2, Monkey
Discworld,
Island.
Monkey Island. My thing was Gabriel Knight. I loved Gabriel Knight. That was a cool thing. What else was there? Full Throttle. Anything LucasArts, I would. And I miss LucasArts so much. I miss LucasArts so much.
I know. It's a pity.
I wish they would come back, or Double Fine would do something. Hopefully,
get another studio. Same people, just make a new studio and do other stuff. Come on, guys, come on.
I mean, but now everything's a remaster. That's what's happening. They're kind of going back and literally there's going back and like saying, well, this was good, so we're going to remake it. Yes, Gabriel Knight. The second one with the werewolves was my personal favorite, but I played all three. 3 was like a weird, like, cult one. First was a voodoo one, and it had Mark Hamill in it, which was kind of cool. I was like, what a weird flex from Mark Hamill, but he was doing everything at that point, so it kind of made sense.
I think it was going through like the Monkey Island games that brought it into, for me, like my taste in games leaning more towards like the only way you could describe it is as British comedy.
Oh, quirky, very quirky.
Rare games, Fable, anything. I love
Red
Dwarfish.
Fable is amazing. Fable is amazing. I don't know what he's doing now. Maybe he retired.
There's a new one coming.
There is a new one coming.
It's not Molyneux though. Well, I wonder what Molyneux is doing.
No, it's Richard Ayoade is.
That was such a great choice. That was amazing.
And that's a really interesting one. So he's done mostly screen stuff, BBC, IT Crowd, all that stuff. Like he's always been on screen. And also Darth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is also fantastic. But yeah, that's people say like, oh, don't put it on a voice and you just do your voice. His voice is so unique and not always in the good way. But when people want him, they book him. It's like, I want his voice.
You very much want Richard. That's who you're getting.
Right. Versus someone else putting on a voice. This guy, sounds like he doesn't care anyway. So like, it just kind of goes right into it. But it works though. It really, and it worked in the Fable trailer. I said, oh God, that's a good choice. Because he was like so nonchalant in the trailer. And I was like, this actually is brilliantly done. So
it's that type of humor that's very unique. It is the only thing is like slapstick British comedy. Like, as I said, the Monty Python, the Red Dwarf, that kind of the campy, cheesy, but it works.
Yes.
It just works.
So that's why I like Matthew Berry. And if you guys watch What We Do in the Shadows,
yes, What We Do in the Shadows is great.
Cry with laughter. It's so funny. New York City. I still find it's so good.
I was actually going to ask because you're an English person. Have you seen? I'm sure you have. Obviously, the answer is going to be yes. Is Toast of London? You watched
yes And really cool thing about that, which I sort of like, I have a hobby of kind of going through IMDb and seeing where people have gone, what they've gone on to do, but one of the things in the booth with Clem Fandango is Mark Downey, who's done a lot of stuff, and he I loved him before that stuff, but he's Gale in Baldur's Gate now. Which is a huge thing, and I don't think he realizes I think he's quite surprised by how big it is. He's done all this stuff, and it's like this game is the biggest thing. He's like, oh, okay, that's weird. But it's also one of those things where you just don't know where people are going to pop up next. I'm always kind of like curious about that. It's always a fun thing to look at, at least for me. I find it enjoyable.
We're curious to see then where you'll pop up next, Chris.
Oh, I can tell you. I can tell you
under a penalty of death.
No, I can. I will just say December 7th, and that you will have to Google the rest. It's that much.
So y'all keep an eye on that. I just have to laugh at Calypso. He's like, Chris, as a British person, does anyone remember that episode of South Park? Malcolm McDowell comes, hello, I am a British person.
See, I love Malcolm McDowell as well. Yeah, God, John Hurt, Malcolm McDowell, these great actors. One of my favorite things I've read, and I don't know if it's true, but the reason why Game of Thrones has a northern accent was because of Sean Bean, because at the time he was the biggest billing when they did that show. So apparently they said, Sean, do you want to do like a southern accent? He goes, fuck no. I said, that's so everyone had to learn how to do northern accent, which I think is fantastic. Sean Bean doesn't change. It's just Sean Bean. It's just like, I'm not changing anything I'm doing. I'm just going to be myself, and I'm going to get paid for it. Like, God, that's what I want.
There's a few actors that get away with that. Sean Bean's one of them. It's just you're booking him.
Yes,
That's
you do.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're booking Sean Bean. You got to get Sean
And he'll
Bean.
probably die at some point because that's become his thing. Well, see, my thing was I watched him back in the 90s. God, I'm so old. But the when Sharp came out and my last name, that
I was going
became
to ask
sort of
about Sharp's rifles.
a joke in middle school. And I was like, this is good. This is good now. But no, I'd love to see a reboot of that series. But it's dated now, so I'm not sure it'll.
I don't know. I didn't know it went on for so long because I watched Sharp's Rifles a couple of years ago because I read this historical book series and I was like, this is really good. Are there any shows like this? And then I turned on to like Con Eagle Day and stuff like that. And I started watching Sharp's Rifles and I was like, this is fantastic. I didn't know that it ran for so long.
Oh,
and that that it went
massive
on
show.
for
Massive
years.
show.
I had no idea. And like I've been trying to watch more of it, but I can only find the first part.
Calypso, it's only in America that shows get cancelled after 3 seasons.
Yeah, it pisses me off. Like this is like
that's a whole separate thing. Yeah.
Sean Bean should be doing this today still. You know, it should be the one thing that he constantly comes back to.
Sharp's wheelchair. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see
Sharp's
80-year-old
pension.
Sean Bean rolling around carrying a musket. Damn it.
You know, I used to fire a fucking rifle. So. No. That's one thing too with nostalgia. I kind of like for us, it's kind of like, you know, they know they're doing little fish things. Like, remember this? And then the South Park member berries, they're doing that.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I'll take my money. Remember that? Remember? And now I'm like, stop. Please stop.
Yeah,
like,
it's been milked to death.
I appreciate what you've done and I'm very grateful you've given us this, but enough. We have been placated. You know, the baby bird thing is just insane. The whole 2 seasons and cancel it because there's so much content now. I was talking about this and I can see why they do it, but also no one will ever get invested in a show again because why bother? In 2 seasons you're going to kill off the story. I'm not going to watch it. Just me personally, you know.
There's that, and added to the fact of, because you'll remember this, Chris, back in the day, you'd limited channels.
Yes, 4 of them.
So,
it was 4 of them.
When it was
5.
after dinner, and it was time for everyone to sit in front of the TV, there was 2 or 3 shows on, depending on who your family were, depict what shows were watched.
Right.
And it didn't matter if you liked that or not. You ended up liking that. You were conditioned.
It was Stockholm syndrome with the 4 channels. Yeah,
you
basically.
became invested in that, and that's what they're pulling on the nostalgia now, is because of that. But they'll never have that because too much choice. We are literally spoiled for choice now. And with this many different people, you've got this many different options. So nothing can ever be like a super big thing. It can only get to a certain point of largeness, you know?
Yeah, yes and no, because like I felt obviously pre-pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
What were the 2 biggest shows in the late 10s? Like if you had the top of your head, 2 biggest shows on TV all the time.
Is it Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
And
something
Walking Dead.
Something
Walking Dead. They were the 2 quote unquote water cooler shows, and you went to work and you were talking about that. They were the biggest ones. There were other shows, Doctor Who. Yeah, it's true. No, Doctor Who has its place. Yeah, but it's more so that they were the excitement shows, like every week, and don't spoil it. And now it's like consumed so quick. I saw this tonight. It's crap. Oh, cool. So I'm very picky with what I watch now. We watched Pluto, which an anime series. Fantastic. It's fantastic. Like, really watch it if you want a good like Blade Runner-esque story, but it's also an Astro Boy origin story. It's very it's very cool.
Really?
I really loved it. I really loved it. But yeah, a lot of those shows, it's just there's so much content. You're right. There's so much now. You can't pay attention to everything. There's no possible way you can watch everything and like everything. So I'm very picky. So that's why they make so much, I think.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones till like after I think it was like the 5th season ended.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like everyone was going on about it. So my thing is I'm aversion to anything like that. So if everyone's like, you have to watch it, it's like, no,
yes.
no. And I stay away from it until all the
Mhm.
hype is cooled down and I can enjoy it at my own pace, because otherwise people will spoil it. And like you said, with the internet today, like the new episode of Game of Thrones is on the thing. It's like I can't even open Twitter now. There will be spoilers. I can't interact with social media until I've watched this,
Right,
because
and
there will be spoilers.
And they're like, that's the way it is. I'm like, well, yeah, it could be. But like, I managed to wait for Endgame. I did a complete internet embargo for 2 months. And I was like, and I went and saw it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I got to enjoy this and no one spoiled it. I literally walked in with my headphones on, like my AirPods, into the cinema. I'm like, I don't want to hear someone talking about it, breathing about it, nothing. I want to get in there.
That's a good strategy. I
yeah,
feel
'cause-
that's the way it is for games now too. Like 2023 has been a banger year for great games, like from indie stuff to like AAA or AA or whatever. It's all been
spoiled, absolutely
super
spoiled.
What do you reckon
great.
for game of the year?
Oh man,
Well, I mean,
personally,
there's only one Baldur's Gate. I think it's gonna be Baldur's Gate. It's got to be.
it's gonna be
like,
Baldur's Gate.
I would like it to be Zelda, but it's probably going to be Baldur's Gate. You're right. Like that guy, I think it's because that came so blank out of nowhere. Like everyone knew Zelda was going to be a good game, but Baldur's Gate, I think, blindsided people.
Zelda.
I mean,
Not a Zelda fan?
It's Zelda. It's Zelda.
I have a Switch. I play Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And I'm gonna cancel this, I'm sure. It's a great game. It's not a Zelda game. It's a very great game, but it is not just because they slap a Zelda skin on it. I'm so that I was like, I don't like the weapons breaking. I had real problems with that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
And it was just
endurance mechanics piss me off in games.
And I was just like, this seems I mean, it did well. It's superb and everyone loves it. I played it and I enjoyed it. I'm like, this just didn't feel the same way most Zelda games feel. I was like, okay, fine, But they're trying to reboot it and stuff, but it's a whole new world. So I get it. I do get it.
What I would like to have seen them done, which again, this is all like hypotheticals, because you'll never tell Nintendo what to do. You'll never get Nintendo does what they're going to do. That's it. Take the original Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, and just make that in like Breath of the Wild graphics. Literally. Wake up. Here, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this, hand it, and then get out. And then you have to figure out where the hell you're going, what's going on. I know they're kind of like that in Breath of the Wild, but like you said, there's too many complicated mechanics and stuff like that. Just keep it simple. Keep it very simple, very basic, down to what the original game was.
I'm an Ocarina of Time fan. That's just
Oh,
me.
yeah.
That's what I
No,
love.
My favorite one.
I
The
love
linear,
it.
the sort of linear, but it's open world, but it's not too big.
Sandbox is the way.
Sandbox,
Mhm.
and like you can get away with it. Like I've played maybe 20 minutes of Breath of the Wild with a friend, and all I did was spend that 20 minutes hunting and wrestling horses. Trying to get horses. That's all I did.
First two
Was it
runs through
fun?
Breath of the
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah, but like it's not. I mean, because I haven't played it enough of it or whatever. It was good, but my love of Zelda is like Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time.
I love
the
Twilight
more
Princess.
Yeah,
linear
One of my
sort of
favorites.
Zelda games.
That and Ocarina were my two favorites. Didn't enjoy Majora's Mask as much as
I have
other
a
people.
fondness
Still a good
for
game.
the weird time travel Majora's Mask. I have a fondness for it.
So
I love it.
Jaina makes a good point here in the chat. People just forgot the beta existed, and oh no, there.
I
Froze for a
think you
second.
sketched for a second there, Chris. Go on again.
People just forgot that
We sketched it.
Yeah,
but so my wife was playing the alpha, and my original thought was like, good God, this is generic. Like I was like, this is so boring. Like I watched it play, I'm like, I mean, it looks nice, but and God, foot and mouth syndrome. If I ever say something's bad, buy it, put stock in it, because I'm always wrong historically. I'm always the reverse. But when I played it, I was like, oh, this got polished. Oh my God, but that took 5 years, guys. 5 years. That's a long time to polish a game.
5 years with a mountain of developers, like a lot of people.
Right. And Larian came out. I mean, and Larian is an indie studio, are they not?
Technically,
technically they're indie,
publisher.
but the amount of people in professional publishing and stuff, I think they sort of skirt the line between AA and solo,
but they're not AAA, and that's the bit that I think blew everyone away. Was like, You don't need to have, two big letters in front of your name. I'm talking about, wink, wink.
Yeah.
To make your game good or valid. And that was just amazing. And of course, you can't even argue. Like the performances are insane. It's insanely good. They cast everyone really well. Every NPC sounds like a whole storyline. I don't know how they did it. Like every NPC you talk to, I am curious about what this person is doing. Like it's crazy.
Good game design right there. The fact that draws you in straight away, great game design.
Like the little tiefling girls, like, hello, I'm gonna I was like, I want to know all about why you're a thief. This is great. like
I'm looking forward to that. I've been staving off it, and I was like, I'm going to get it, but I'm going to see it. I'm like, it's probably going to end up on Game Pass. And then about 2 weeks ago now, I think, I'm not too sure when, but it was the evening. It was evening time here in Ireland, and Larian put out a tweet going, hey, we're going to release a deluxe boxed edition. I'm like, son of a okay.
Take
like
my money.
Away, it was like, okay,
take my money.
Okay. I'm so they said cloth map. That's all it takes apparently to get me.
Yeah, cloth map. I just found my Dragon Age cloth map.
Oh, Dragon Age is another good one. It's another great one with narrative I love. That's thing. So that one too is the one I want with the statue is Space Marine 2. It's been delayed. I'm like, I just want the big Tyranid statue. I just need. Do I need it? No, but do I need it? Yes.
That was a great example of how the internet views things, because I've been waiting as well for that, and I was like, it was up on the Xbox store and on Steam and all. It's just like coming soon. It doesn't say when, right? And then they released a thing saying, "Hey guys, I know we didn't have a release date, but we're delaying it to this." And you instantly see the divide. You've got impatient people that don't understand game development and all. Like, oh, this is a disgrace, blah, 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 blah. But anyone else, I was like, wow, that sucks. I can't wait. I hope it's good. They need to it needs work. It obviously needs work. Take the time and make it well.
That is my thing. I don't, number one, I don't work in game dev, but I have friends that do. Crunch is awful. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. But, there are investors. There are, deadlines that must be met. I understand that. But you should not see your family. Yeah. It will come out. I wish that project, CD Projekt had wait on Cyberpunk. Say, guys, we screwed up. It's at least 6 more months. Fine. No one would care. But again, if there's already contracts in place, the finance work, we are not privy to all this business stuff, and they made legal requirements to release it X, Y, and Z. So
there's already been advertising done. The stuff is queued up and ready. All
my sister works in advertising for, I won't tell you, but it's a stripy company. She does advertising for that. And she's told me stuff where, like, no, once the ball's rolling, you've got to get out of the way. Like, it's just the way it is, and I'm sure it applies across businesses.
Especially if you go up the ladder into bigger game studios, like if you take Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft,
it's probably immersive. It's probably immersive. I don't even begin to pretend. I just do funny voice man. I don't do any other stuff, but things that I'd rather wait. That I'm the same way. I'd rather you wait and make this an astonishing release.
Exactly.
Then release something and then make us the QA. That's a problem. I think, but again, that's just the industry. But releasing and then having the people that buy the game fix it. That's what alpha and beta is for. In my, you can correct me, but that's in my knowledge.
That's what it should be for. But according to a bunch of companies, that's not what it's for.
There's two parts. So number one, I'm on board exactly with that, Chris. My attitude is always like, oh, it's delayed until the end of next year. Well, I have a huge backlog of crap I haven't even gotten to yet, so that's okay.
It's not for lack of content. That's the whole thing. Is that we act like the olden days of the 1990s. But when no one was alive, kids are rapidly googling what is 1990. Was anyone alive back then?
It depresses me
late 1900s.
Grown adults years ago right now that were not alive in the 90s, and it makes me sad.
No, there's 20-year-olds when I moved here. I'm like, now they're 20. I'm like, okay, part of getting old. It's fine. But I do agree with it. It's like. Again, but I speak from a point of ignorance. I don't know the mechanics. I don't know the legalities, the investors, all the stuff that people are putting pressure on, saying everyone has a job, and that one person might be saying, get this out. Like, that's the job.
And don't forget the golden rules.
Yeah.
He who has the gold makes the rules. And if he who has the gold said the game is releasing on this date, it's releasing on that date, whether it's done or not.
But see, we now live, though, in such a wonderful time. Like, it's a double-edged sword of having, the internet and Steam and stuff. but now you can patch it. When games were broken before, that was it. You couldn't do anything with it. That was it. It was busted, but now I can drop in, Cyberpunk's still dropping in a working transit system to the metro next week.
I heard about that.
Larian's done another massive patch. I'm like, the game is getting more polished. I mean, you're making super diamonds now. It's crazy. So I'm all about that. I'm all about that. So,
and then there's the other side when we were talking about alpha and betas and testing games, right? A public perception that has been ruined by marketing and modern development. Now you get people it's like, oh, pay to get early access to the beta. That's not a beta. That's a marketing thing. Like betas is the game busted. The game doesn't have textures. Maybe all the mechanics don't work and all like that. But they've used it as a marketing tool. And people think, oh, well, they're in beta, so it should be out in 3 months. It's like, no, not how that works.
If you pre-order the beta, you get access to the beta. But by doing so, you're saying, hey, we've tested this, but we want you to break it because we're going to.
Yeah.
And that is good because the game's set out. But with like Baldur's Gate that for 5 years in alpha and beta. So that's a long time to fix things. So the fact is they got that far, it worked. But I mean, people had to be patient. And that's a big thing. And people just don't have the patience. It's all now, instant gratification, which is fine. But you have to understand that, people have families and stuff, and you want to get to work.
I blame TikTok. I blame TikTok, and there's no one has an attention span anymore. I know I'm probably wrong, but I don't care. I'm blaming TikTok anyway. They're like, I need it now. It's like there's like 400 games came out in the past year. Like, go play literally any one of those.
I just pick stuff that's bargain bin. If they're on sale, I'm like, ooh, I want that. I got The Witcher for $9. I'm like, this thing cost like $80 when it first came out. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's what my Steam wish list is. It's a bunch of games that I'm waiting for Steam to tell me that they've been dramatically reduced.
Yes. Yeah. Because like Boltgun was a fun one. Like I bought almost all the Warhammer games, like almost all of them. Gothic Armada. My friend gifted me Gothic Armada. Then I bought 2. Then I bought Battle Sector. Then I bought Space Hulk, the Deathwing. Then I bought this, and they're not all great. Some are great. Some are okay. Some are amazing. And then I got, was it Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, which, giant Terminator stamping about. So I'm like, as dumb as this sounds, the selling point was the cutscene where you literally just run up and go, oh, brother, and then kick through a wall. And I just like, that is stupid. And it's selling me, but it's great.
So my one that I picked up recently that it went on discount and I haven't got to play it yet is Hired Gun. Have you played that one?
No.
Necromunda Hired Gun.
Oh, Necromunda. Yeah. Sorry.
That's on my list too. Looks wild.
I'd be curious. I was told it's Doom in 40K. I'm like, sold.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what Boltgun is. Boltgun is like old school Doom, pixelated.
But in the Warhammer universe, it looks.
Here we go.
Baller.
So I'll give you the full list here. I got 40K Battle Sector, 40K Boltgun, 40K Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, 40K Darktide, 40K Dawn of War, 40K Dawn of War 2. Dawn of War 2 Chaos Rising, Dawn of 2, 40K Mechanicus, and 40K Space Marine. So, and then Warhammer Vermintide. So pretty much everything, so I've been busy.
Varric, dramatically reduced, and hope you have enough in your bank account to pay for it. If not, looks like ramen noodles for the next week. Yeah.
Well, that's why you get the sales. The Steam sales are there.
Steam sales, aka just give me your damn money. How much have you got in your wallet? Just give it to me.
Just give it to me now.
Yeah.
Dara, I have my eye on Rogue Trader in 4 days. I've been keeping an eye on that. I'm curious.
Yeah.
You going to pick that one up, Chris?
Yeah, definitely will. Definitely one more thing to buy for sure. So, yeah.
More 40K. We need to organize a night and you need to jump in with us. We all play some Darktide.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
I'll be one of those other people going, you're on Darktide here. You're online. Chris is online. Come on, come play. Come play.
That's literally what Discord is for. I have groups of people that play the various games. So I can just go jump in that one, play this, jump in that one, play this. Because they play the same game all the time, but no one plays any different games. It's always the one group playing Final Fantasy or playing Darktide, and like, okay, cool, 1, 2, and 3. So
we've been on a weird rotation in my personal Discord lately. It goes between Darktide, Diablo 4, and Monster Hunter. There's a weird one. Monster Hunter Rise. I don't know if you
yeah. Sorry, I did think for a second. Yeah, Monster Hunter. Yeah, I played that game originally, and I was like, this is Dark Souls again. Like you don't know the hell monster. Like, I hate this. Like it's Boss
Rush, the video game. It's just disguised as you hunting monsters, but it's a boss rush video.
It is worth it for the cutscene with the cats cooking. That just thrills me.
That is
I
adorable.
love that.
I love it.
Just adore that cutscene. Like, how much work went into this one cutscene?
Not only that, if you ever like that's in World. Did you get into Iceborne? There's another cutscene with the Grand Meowster where it's an old woman cat. Yeah, it's your grandma cooking all up the stew and all like that. It is amazing.
It was the just the one where they're like doing all this stuff, the Power Ranger moves for cooking, which is great. Yeah, I love it. I loved it. But yeah.
That sells quite a bit on it as well, like, because a massive Monster Hunter fans. But again, like you said, it is very much on the dark. It's funny as well because I've gotten people that got into Monster Hunter and they couldn't play Dark Souls, and I explained to them, it's just Monster Hunter with mobs.
Basically,
that's all it is. If you could transfer the skills, it is just the boss fight. Only instead of this cute little lizard that spits poison, it's a 5-story tall, big armor.
But it's still the bonk mechanics. You have the giant sword, the giant hammer, and it's the same thing. I like the gunblade because that's Final Fantasy stuff coming in. I'm like, it's terrible. Like, no, it's a gunblade. It's instant win. I don't care. I don't care what you say. I'm still playing it.
All the same theory and strategy works for everything. Roll around and stab it in the butt with the big sword.
Basically, the Dark Souls roll around. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It works for absolutely everything. Now, that being said, did you actually get to try, going back to Deadhaus, did you get to try the Bloodbath demo?
I didn't know. I watched the video. I got to see the video. I did not see.
I need to set a rig up somehow because I need to get a stream of Chris playing that. Just hearing himself. Yes.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Rolling around and just don't start, Scara. You're pulling in Sonic there, right there.
Before we wrap up, I'm a sound nerd, and I wanted to ask how you built your sound studio, and what your microphone is. It looks like a Neumann, but I could be wrong.
You good eye. It's good eye. It's a Neumann TLM 103. It's my baby. It actually sounds good. It's one of those things where everyone is by mic A and mic B, and sometimes it doesn't work. I had a Sennheiser 416. Did not work with me. It sounded it's directional, and I move around when I perform and stuff, so it's kind of weird. But this one also, I just like it. It's a nice bright microphone. Just sounds good. And but the booth, though, so I started with like everyone else, the closet, and then it worked out, and that sounded terrible. So then I built a PVC structure with blankets, and then I built these sound baffles myself. So when it was you guys, and then they came across from the blanket fort, so to speak, to this, and I built this myself during the pandemic. I spoke to a buddy who's an audio engineer, and he goes, "You need a floating floor at least." I said, "Cool." So spent about $2,000, and I know Matt's talked about this before too, with like the price of these prefabs can be 10,
me and Matt talked about it.
They can go as expensive as you want.
Whatever you want. I mean, with money, everything is possible.
Do you self-record, or do you send that off, or do you do it remotely? Like when you're recording stuff with George,
all from here.
Is it pure remote, or do you do it on your own? Is you do your own sound engineer and everything like that?
I'll be honest, I don't engineer anything. Auditions are raw. And it's not for that. I'm like, it's not my job. And if you want to, I'll EQ it a bit, but I'll charge you for it. It's not free.
Yeah. Is that why you don't do audiobooks that much? Apart from, video games and you don't like it?
I could do audiobooks
because you have to self-edit.
No, I mean, I debrief and stuff. Like basic debriefing. I don't send like a mess when it comes out. Like I send off a nice file to people, but I'll normalize it and debrief it. But I'm not talking about like EQing it and doing all the stuff that engineers far more talented than I, because I've been on session where all I hear is, "Hey, can you splice that?" Yeah, I've done it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, God, they're quick." I'm sitting there clicking, click. Yeah. So the professionals are the professional. I think audio engineers are the unsung heroes of the sessions, really. So I vastly prefer being in a session than remote, as in like self-directed. And the reason is direction changes the performance really, really massively. On some self-direction, it can sound very, I mean, it's good, but it doesn't sound like as good as it could be if someone had directed you on the line. That's just my personal opinion. Sometimes though, you can get really good effort if you can gauge yourself, but it's you can hear your own voice enough times, you do kind of like, get biased with how you sound. But to finish off the thing with the booth, so during the pandemic, I built it. It took me about a month to build it, and I have a whole breakdown on Facebook. But it's a triple thick drywall with rock wool in the middle, wooden frame, floating like pallet sort of floor, and then the sound blankets and the baffles here. So I've got many compliments, so it's good. But the lighting is kind of whatever. It's like LED strip lighting. So
Nothing wrong with
Nice.
that. I have to laugh.
but
at the
I
idea
can
of
do this though. I can change. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, rad, super
Oh.
cool.
Wait, hang on. Make it all proper Deadhaus now. There you go.
Ooh.
As we were
Yeah.
talking with Matt before, and I was saying, who would have thought that your entire childhood of building pillow forts will actually turn into something functional later on?
Yeah,
Right. And something that actually could be, actually lucrative for you as well. Absolutely. No, absolutely. But no, it's good. I mean, I got my window here. I can sort of like just kind of show you. There's the desk out there.
Cool.
So I have a control window, but it's all remote through my PC. I have a separate PC for this now, and I have my interface for my baby face here, so I can do loop back and everything else in sessions if I want to. But yeah, no, it's all from here. It is hot in here, so if you see me sweating, that is why. 'Cause it is
I'm
extremely
sure
hot
it
in here.
is. I'm
When
sure
you
it is. I tried
talked
recording
about
in a closet once, it didn't work out very well.
when you were talking there about self-directing and being directed like during sessions and all, and some people get like lax when they're going. It just came to mind when me and Calypso were talking before about a certain Peter Dinklage for Destiny 2. They had to redo
Oh
the
no,
entire lines.
there are wizards in the moon. I was
Yeah.
also in Game of Thrones. And then it's like, hi, I'm Nolan North. I'm like, yeah, that's better.
That's
Anytime I hear Nolan North, it's just Deadpool.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's no, that's his Nathan Drake and
definitely-
Deadpool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who I hear. It's like it always just happens at Deadpool because it's one of my favorite characters. Like I just always constantly like I've way too many of these little bobbles. Like one of my favorite characters from years again from the 90s, showing our age where that originally came about.
It's just showing the
But
age.
with them doing that, like which do you prefer? Do you prefer like being let go and just like okay?
I never
you
want to
go
be
and
let
do
go.
this.
Never for anything. I'll not be let go. God, let
You
go
wanna
is the wrong
be-
phrase.
You want to
Uh,
get direction or
Yeah.
solo?
Freestyle
We'll
or
reset.
solo.
Direction. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
With direction, you have like I've done a session recently where there were 7 people on there and 2 from the actual company, and they were like just doing this. I was like, and it can be really weird and intimidating, but you know what lane you're in, you know how much play you have, and that I think is good. Like, so you can do whatever you want, but stay in this lane. And I can also ad lib with them too. I've done a couple of things where I'll be like, oh, can I try something really quick? And they go, yeah. And they go, oh, that's great. We're not going to use it, but that was great. But you give them options, and it's a really big thing. And sometimes just having that live instant feedback, I don't want to be sending you 6, 7 versions, across the week when you're like, oh my God, hop on Zoom for 10 seconds, we'll get it done. And like, oh, that was really easy. So
that was going to be my next question. Actually, are you
Yep.
a one and done, or do you prefer to do like 2 or 3 versions of the same thing?
It depends. Like for character work, it's very different because you can, there's so many ways to say something, and the intent of what do you want the person listening to feel when you say it, even though it's like one line, you don't be, hopping on going, here is your sword. You're like, oh, that sounds a bit shit. You can be, but versus here is your sword, my liege. It's kind of it's different. It doesn't have to be corny, but it's what are you trying to demonstrate? And if you have someone saying, yeah, I didn't believe that take, make him lighter, make him a bit younger, lose the grit, and you just sort of curate the performance a bit more. It's more polished, and the end result is better. That's my humble opinion.
Thank you for that feedback and all that info.
And I'd love to hint at stuff in regards to Deadhaus, but I can't talk about it because I know there are
Yes.
things happening that have already been recorded a while ago, and there might be stuff coming forward. So we can't. That's the annoying part.
Can't really talk about any of that stuff.
We need to get all of you guys back on once this comes out to go through everything.
Go through everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how did you
And
find it anyway in comparison to like some of the other stuff? Did you find like recording for Victor or for Zoran and all of these easy, or was it challenging?
Working with George is super fun. It doesn't feel like work with George. And he's beautifully blunt. He was like, "Nah, that's terrible. Do this one." I'm like, okay. So I prefer the directness of it, and it's just good fun. I wouldn't say it's stressful at all, really. No jobs are ever really stressful, game wise. Commercial stuff stressful because people are like, do this, hold this, then say this, hold your breath here. I'm like, I don't remember any of this, and it's just like, and there's acres of silence. They go, yeah, that was good. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. It's very, very like nonchalant. You don't know where you stand with it. With games, usually with the director, I'll hear like, oh, that was good. That was nice. That was nice. I was like, okay, good. So praise individuals. So yeah.
I just see through all of your stuff, and I kept laughing because I'm the one that has to read all the nasty comments online. I've been told I shouldn't be doing that as much anymore, but looking at the YouTube comments, and one of my favorite ones, and I'm going to bring it up now because everyone always say, "Oh, would you say that to Chris?" And it's like, I'm actually going to say this in front of Chris right now.
Dread to think.
No, compliment-wise, actually, it's it's not the negative. They're like, "Oh, they're doing a spiritual successor to Legacy of Kain. They need to get Simon Templeman back." It's like, no, Chris is better. I've heard the stuff the public hasn't. Chris is better. His vampire is better. You haven't heard it yet, but it is.
I actually read that comment. I was like, oh, fuck you too.
Dude, I don't even think Simon Templeman even knows what this series is anymore. That was a paycheck for him, and you don't care anymore.
Oh, it's been long enough, too.
It's been 30 years ago, too, I think. 20 years ago. I think he's probably moved on. Yeah.
It's like not interested, but like your work on it was fantastic. Nail on the head for everything, especially with Memento Mori. That was
it's fun.
Absolutely amazing. And I think Calypso's going to want you to do our little audio stint first here.
Oh god!
So to end, no stress, natural voice, whatever. To end this episode, as I like to do with all of our voice actors, is you're giving us our sign off, and I'm going to splice you into our intro. I'm going to have you say for us, yes. Thank you for listening to Deadhaus Whispers. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. No pressure.
Yes. Oh God, hang on.
That was good. I can use that.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for listening to Deadhaus Whispers with Faceless Mike and Calypso. They're lovely people. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll find you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We are honored. That was incredible. Thank you.
And with all of with all of that said, everybody, I've been Calypso, Faceless Mike, our guest Chris Sharps. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you in the next episode.
All right,
bye, everyone.
guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.